Okay, so Fish had been nominated to moderate. He doesn't want to moderate. I was nominated in second to moderate in his place. Are there any hard blocks? Any objections? Everyone agrees? Or anyone that agrees? Okay.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay, so are there any agenda items from yesterday? No, I want to know so we can do that and then we'll move into it. If anyone was here yesterday, were there any remaining agenda items?
No, you're not.
Okay. So do we need to review hand signals or are we all pretty well aware? Okay. So let's start with committee announcements, please.
So events committee meets every day at 5:30. Wellness committee sick call is 10 to 12 every Saturday. We also bring in.
What was that? Wellness committee. Sick call? What did you say?
We do a sick call
Sick call.
every Saturday, 10 to noon. We're also bringing down like warm meals and so on and so forth for that. So that happens every Saturday, 10 to noon.
Thank you. And before we move on to the next committee announcement, I need a note taker, please, a stack keeper, and a timekeeper. Do I have any volunteers? Don't everyone jump at once.
I'll need stack. Yeah.
Okay. I need. Who wants to do stack between the two of you?
Oh, I'll be note taker. I need a.
That's awesome. We have an extra pen and paper.
I have pen. I just don't have paper. I have a couple sheets. Paper over here.
Thank you. Stack. Do I have a timekeeper, please?
I could be a timekeeper.
Thank you. Okay, so the next committee announcement, please.
I just was in the Labor Solidarity Committee that just ended. They had 3 proposals that all passed with consensus. The first was that they wanted to participate in the 11th, the event that's going on for like SoCal, and in regards to presenting about May Day and possibly the 4th. The affinity group was going to figure that out. The second proposal that passed was to support the March 1st statewide Student Day of Action against the budget cuts, and hopefully have people on campuses on that day talking about May 1st as well. And then the third proposal that passed was for us to have a basically an alliance with the May Day United Coalition, and what they basically do is they have like open discussions about May 1st of what's going on in the different locales across the country, and they also have tools and like for helping to publicize and things like that to utilize to better get the word out for May 1st. So those 3 proposals all passed with consensus.
Are there any other committee updates or announcements? Finance?
Yes, there is. 2 days ago, we put up the website, www.sandiegoccupy.org, which is dedicated. It's kind of a blog site. It's dedicated to posting all the information that comes out of finance every day. Every day's checkbook entries are in there, so that all the sources of the income and the dispersals are all on the web now, and the complete agenda of the finance committee is also posted there. It's in a day-by-day. You can scroll through. It's one single blog listing for each month, and of course on the front page the link to the donate site is there.
Any other committee announcements?
I guess as bail committee, I think I'm just going to say that Cole was arrested yesterday, and his bail is set at $10,000. And the reason why he was arrested is because originally he was arrested for sleeping on the plaza.
Sorry, she couldn't hear you.
Cole was arrested yesterday. The original arrest was because he fell asleep on the plaza. He went to jail, and he was convinced to plead guilty and not into the plaza for 3 years in order to get out of jail. I think at some point he decided that that wasn't a fair judgment, so he came onto the plaza and was arrested. And so he's now in jail. Just FYI.
So he's still in jail? Okay.
Any other committee updates or announcements?
There's supposed to be a media meeting after TA today, so we'll figure that out. I don't know where Will today is, but I hope he comes because
Education. Oh, sorry. No, please. Education met today, and we covered number 1. There's going to be an Occupy glossary that we're working on. The first teach-in based on that will be on February 5th. The time will be on the page. We'll have all the this upcoming Sunday, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, February 5th. We have a whole lineup of teach-ins already scheduled. So check Occupy's education website for that. One of them will be an Occupy glossary. If you guys have any ideas of stuff to put as terms that we should have in the glossary, please contact anybody from education or go to our website and put it in the email to them there. We're helping with teach-ins on February 4th and 11th, and we're talking about starting teach-outs because we do have a lot of good people coming to the teach-ins every Sunday, but we want to start providing information to people outside of Occupy San Diego, and so it'll be a form of outreach, and we'll be discussing that at the next meeting next Sunday on February 5th at 5 p.m. So the next education meeting is next Sunday, February 5th at 5 p.m. before GA and after all the teach-ins. And did I leave anything out? Thank you. Okay, so are there any other committee updates or announcements? So we don't have any agenda items, so we can do some crowdstorming. Oh.
Well, I would like to propose the agenda item.
Okay.
I would like to make a proposal to rescind the proposal passed in the GA by consensus on October 29th, acknowledging Activist San Diego as the exclusive fiscal sponsor of Occupy San Diego.
Okay. Typically, when we have a proposal, we have to wait 24 hours in order to come to consensus on it. We can discuss it, but we need to make it available so that people can have a 24-hour period. So if we can discuss it here, but it won't be called to consensus until tomorrow's GA.
Wait, just sorry. When was that consensus? That we have to give the proposal 24 hours.
I don't know the date for that,
Okay.
but it has been consensus.
Well, I remember that said if we were able to, let's do it. But if it could be so restricted where you had to have a 24 hour window, that was passed at some point.
Let me check on that. Point of information.
Hi, I'm Wendy Sue, and I'm hearing impaired, and I'm having a hard time hearing folks. Can I maybe request that if you're speaking, you stand up, so that if I can't hear you, I can try and liberate.
Do you want to move in closer too? Are you using that as your support?
Human mic.
I'm using this for support.
I'd like to propose that we remove the human mic. Mic check, basically.
I second.
Okay, so
Did you get it? Well, I propose that we remove the human mic. For a second. Is this a secret meeting? Where's the
no,
transparency?
I'm asking you about your thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 24 hours. Okay, so do we want to open staff on finances proposal and discuss it? Temperature check?
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to open this up and discuss it, please
Second.
And we're okay to do that,
Okay.
right?
Anyone disagree?
Sorry.
okay.
So if we have no agenda items today, can that be discussed today, or should we just go to crowdstorming agenda items for tomorrow?
That's why I'm
or
doing a
what?
temperature check.
Okay.
Is
okay.
to see if we want to discuss it today or just hold off until tomorrow.
So we're allowed to if there's enough people.
Yeah, we can discuss it. We can't call it to consensus
Okay.
until tomorrow, but we can discuss it, get more information if that's what we want to do, and then it will be a votable or don't know the slang for that. But tomorrow, yes, we're gonna have to talk about that. So, do we want to discuss it today?
Sure.
Anyone disagree? Any hard blocks? Okay, so I saw a few people that would like to, so we can open up Stack for this. Who's the Stack keeper?
Oh, I am.
Anyone that wants to be on Stack, raise your hand. It'll be open for like a minute. Is that go on Stack? So who's first?
What is the proposal again?
Pat, will you repeat?
To rescind the proposal passed in the General Assembly by consensus on October 29th, acknowledging Activist San Diego as the exclusive fiscal sponsor of Occupy San Diego.
Okay, so who's first on Stack?
I have Rambo.
I just would like to know why.
Could we have Pat say a few things about why?
He just Can you provide more information?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd respond to a question.
He asked why.
Why?
His stack was why.
Why this? Okay. Is there a time limit on this? It's a valid
No,
question.
go ahead.
It's not rhetorical. Is there a time limit on this?
No.
Yeah, we leave when
No.
we get bored.
I mean, within reason, please.
What has on that date, Activist San Diego was approved by consensus in the GA as the exclusive fiscal sponsor of Occupy. That's the language of the proposal, and it was passed through the GA by consensus. And we formed a finance committee around that, and have built this finance committee, created process in it, and it's ongoing and functioning, and it meets every day. 2 fundraisers have been done with it. Anybody who's not familiar with what came out of that, there's 18 or 19 copies of the report left of what we raised at the 2 Liquid Blue fundraisers. In the meantime, the word exclusive was in that proposal for a reason. Because of all of the I don't know what word I want to use, less than stellar performance by different individuals acting as points of donation collections for Occupy, and then those donations disappearing. That's what prompted the creation of the Finance Committee and an outside third-party fiscal sponsor to administer that for transparency's sake, for safety's sake, for accountability's sake. Since then, incrementally, that exclusivity has been eroded. Ray Lutz's email blast contains links to 5 different donation sites now. Up until the 24th of December, it said, this is the only donation site for Occupy San Diego. Don't go to other scammer sites. That was the language that was there. Over Christmas weekend, it changed to, the language inside of that link was changed about, there's a robust finance committee now that tracks every dollar. But it removed the exclusivity language from it and added to the list under the donations there was the Occupy Greyhound activity and Ray Lutz's Citizens Oversight Project were added to that list. Since then, I believe on New Year's Day, there was a link there to a bail fund, which is operating outside of what it was agreed here and consensus on, that this is the exclusive fiscal sponsor. If there is set up a separate bail fund, we can track that separately. But it has no business being outside of the Finance Committee, nor do any other monetary funds that come to this group until and unless you rescind this. Activist San Diego, let me take my occupier hat off for a minute. Now I'm your rep from ASD, from your fiscal sponsor. We have no position on this. We're not here to advertise or to acquire any benefit from this. We don't charge you any fiscal sponsorship fees. That's probably unique in all of the occupies. Wall Street pays fiscal sponsor fees. But we don't have any position officially on what Occupy does as far as continuing the relationship with ASD as a fiscal sponsor or terminating it. Either's okay with us. We're here to serve, and our motto from this thing has been, when you decide, we provide. We have no opinion. Should you choose to rescind your consensus item from the 29th of October that created this thing, we're fine with that. If you choose not to pass this resolution and keep going as we have been under that umbrella, we're fine with that. We are not fine, however, with continuing on and having these outside points of donation going on through things that are part of the community distribution. The Facebook page, Ray Lutz's email blast, the various Occupy websites that are up, having links to divert donations so that we have to be responsible for all that, but we have no control or even any knowledge of it. We're not okay with that. And if this gets blocked and we return to the way we were, where ASD is your exclusive fiscal sponsor, which it is right now, and these things continue, ASD will unilaterally step off of this. We will come here and say, sorry, but here's a check for the balance you have in the bank. We can't be involved in this anymore if we're going to be held responsible for accounting for everything, and we don't even know where it is. The bail fund can be set up inside of this. All of these things can happen. The website that we put up that was demanded by the GA, that was one of the conditions of passing this, is that it didn't go through the ASD donation site, that we set up a separate page just for Occupy, which we did and which has been functioning. In that website, you can earmark money for anything you want. There's a text box there. I mean, we've had everything from on behalf of the moon to in dedication to my dead sister, to thanks dad, to this is for bail money. This is for the bus trip. Those dedications are noted in the notes. And when you go to this website, now that I've got it up, I'm going to put all the historical information in it too. Hopefully I'll get a big chunk of that done tomorrow. The one day off I get every week is Sunday. So I'll sit down and grind through a bunch of this stuff. It might take me a couple weeks to get everything in there so that the finance will be transparent, not just in the group, but to the whole world. But in the meantime, the donation site, the check that I put in the bank from November donations was a little over $3,300. The check that I put in the bank for December donations was a little over $1,200. And right now, it's what, today's the 28th? 28th of January. The total donations to our website for January so far is $693.55. Yep. That is, a lot of that is a function of the diverting of other people that should be directed to one point for Occupy, and everything's accounted for. There's come to my attention that there was $2,000 donated to the Amarillo 13. That was a consensus on action by this body that should have been accountable through your fiscal sponsor. And it's things like this that, with my ASD hat on, I say we can't function like this. We have accountability to the IRS, to the FCC. We have a radio license now. We have exposure in a lot of places, and not to mention, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The U.S. Marshals and the FBI and all of the jack off, please ignore me people come banging on our door and wanting to know what's going on here. This is what the responsibility and the liability that we took on unilaterally to prevent it from coming down on all of you guys. If you want that to continue, block this motion. If you don't like it, I'll write you a check and we'll give it back to you. And you all can do whatever you want with it. We have no opinion on it. Now I'll put my occupier hat back on and we can have the rest of this conversation.
Okay, thank you. We have a point of information. Is that in, okay, just a second. We do have a point of information, then we have a point of clarity. Is that to get on stack?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Derek.
stack keeper, give it back to me.
Derek.
So your point of information?
I just do my stack now that I know.
Let me give the clarity. Clarity.
Okay, just to be clear, in order to support everything continuing through active, ASD, we want to block this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Blocking this motion would have the effect of maintaining things as consent. Yeah.
Of reestablishing things as consent.
Okay.
A block would basically be a confirmation of the original consent item.
So Rambo would like to, since he had his question, he would like to finish his stack.
Okay. The one thing that I do want to point out, is that Ray Lutz's email blast is not regulated by General Assembly, and he has the right to put whatever the heck he wants on there, whether or not we agree with it. As far as the PayPal for the Occupy Greyhound thing, once again, that was done as an autonomous action through Ray Lutz, so there's nothing we can do about that. But the one thing we can address would be collapsing the bail committee or the bail fund into an activist San Diego.
Well, the one point that you made about the Greyhound thing isn't quite accurate. It started as an outside autonomous action because it continued to get blocked through the GA because of one person that demanded her airfare be paid if that happened. And it went right until the day before departure. But in that GA, it was a consent. They consented to support that action. And from that point forward, that should have been part of the Finance Committee. And from that day forward. And that site is still up. And right now, it still says Occupy Greyhound. But what's on the page is donations for the Felony 4.
Yeah.
And that's what's going through there now.
Yeah,
which, again, should be folded into.
Well, I don't think the Felony 4. I don't think the Felony 4 is actually part of Occupy San Diego necessarily. But I once again, that's not an Occupy San Diego account. There's someone who owns that account and controls that account and has the discretion to ask for donations for whatever they want.
They have discretion to ask for donations. They don't have discretion.
Can I finish my stack, please?
Okay.
Well, okay.
I absolutely agree with you on what happened with the Occupy Greyhound trip. I think that was out of line, but I mean that's pretty much over at this point, and I agree with what you're saying. I think we should collapse the bail fund into the. But as far as Ray Lutz, I mean we can't do anything about what his email blast says. Direct speed.
One point of process and a couple of points of information. The consensus the night before the trip was not to endorse the action, but was to endorse Occupy Congress. So there's definitely still a gray area there on whether they should have or shouldn't have. But this isn't saying that funds can't go to any of these things. This is saying take it to ASD, have it go through the proper channels, earmark it for what you want it to go to, and that's what it will go to. If you want it to go to some road trip that is being planned but nobody fucking knows about yet, earmark it. It'll get thrown into that pile, and when we hear about it, it'll come up.
Right, but don't take it to ASD. Take it to the Finance Committee of Occupy.
Thank you.
That's where the decisions get made. This is all the collective thing. When you decide, we provide. So until and unless that goes through the committee of this body, we don't write any checks. And that prevents unilateral actions of people just deciding they're going to do shit on their own, which they can do. But then don't call it Occupy. Don't put it on our Facebook page. Don't put it on the things that are part of the community base.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know. I hope this is right. But out of courtcy, do we want to honor this person who said she's hard of hearing and at least face her so she can see us speaking whenever we talk? So she can be part of the conversation too, please? Thank you.
They're using tear gas now.
Mic check.
Mic check.
You don't have to repeat this to me. They're using tear gas in Oakland, and there are kids in that march today. I don't know if any of you know, today is move-in day. Occupy Oakland's taking over a vacant building and making a community center. So, yeah.
And they're tear gas.
And Will Gagan's up there, like, you know, all of the streamers are up there, Occupy Freedom LA. So hopefully, I'm just, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, and hopefully everyone is okay. And fuck them. So let's go to who's next on stack.
Zenyatta?
Yes, okay. This is my understanding of the process, right? When a problem comes up, we create a proposal to fix it, right? Right now, there is a problem of sites siphoning money away from the official, from the official donation site, right? So, this proposal, to me, is not in any way constructive. In fact, it is very destructive. I think I don't want to criticize the proposal maker because that would be sort of out of process, so I won't. However, I don't find the whole ASD just gets up and leaves thing. I don't think that helps anything. I think that we should all get together, maybe in finance committee, and come up with a proposal to block these other sites. You could say, in a proposal in finance committee, you could say, oh, well, all other sites besides official finance committee site are now unofficial, and the official site will say so or something. I don't know. But just to have, it strikes me as taking personal drama into GA. And one more thing. I really think that this Ray Lux person, that should be an issue for the accountability committee. If he's going and making these sites and siphoning money away from Occupy San Diego, we should definitely talk about that in the accountability committee. So,
thank you. Next on stack.
Speak up.
Okay. So, I'm not sure if this is a question or concern stack, but
It's just a general discussion.
right on it. So my question is what exactly are you asking us to do? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking for. So could you just clarify just a little bit more for me?
All right, let's ignore them.
I could probably point of process clarify why this proposal is coming this way. He cannot, finance committee cannot bring a proposal to keep consensus that we already have. The proposal would have to be to change it. Now, what this is doing is forcing the conversation as to how far away from what we've consensus we've come. Got it?
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so who was on stack? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was on stack next, so that's awesome. I forgot where I was going. But yeah, if you want all autonomous fundraising and whatever, go with the proposal. If you want to go back to the way that we intended it to be, block the shit out of it.
Okay.
And I mean it.
Next on stack.
Derek?
Hi, everybody. So I'm Derek, and I'm against the proposal to have us leave the ASD sanctioned system. I off and on I've been in the finance committee. I've watched how Pat, when ASD took it over and Pat started operating it, it seemed to me that order before that it was not orderly, and people were kind of random with how they were handling the money. And with Pat and ASD, for those of you, how many of you here have functioned with ASD in the past? Okay, so a few of you know about ASD. It's a really good outfit. It's been around for a long time. They've got a lot of responsibility. They got a radio station, like Pat said, and I think they should be the way. They should continue to do what they've been doing, because it looks to me like it's been the most accountable way we can do it. Now, Ray Lutz is a good friend of mine, and Ray, I'm really surprised to hear that Ray is kind of siphoning stuff off on the side, and I intend to call him Monday morning and tell him to knock it off, because it's not right to be doing that, and it's not right for anybody to be soliciting funds in the name of Occupy San Diego, except for us. We are Occupy San Diego. We're the ones who should be soliciting funds, having fundraisers, doing the things that we want to do. And anybody else that wants to get some money for Occupy San Diego should join with us and get in the group and quit this, you know, this outside stuff that tries to raise. It's very tempting. I know how it is. You know, it's tempting for people to, because Occupy has a lot of support, and so it's tempting to go out and say, you know, I'd like to raise some money, but it's not the way to do it, and we need to stick with ASD.
Thank you. The next person on stack is
Eva. Hi. Okay, so I was trying to come up with a proposal today to be discussed tomorrow, and it was about what kinds of autonomous actions by individuals and committees should go through GA. And the three that I thought we should discuss were press releases, setting up of WePay or any kind of other donation thing, and what was the third one? God. Oh, inter-Occupy things. Anything involving working with other Occupy groups.
yeah, point of process. Can you bring that up during?
No, I'm not trying to interrupt. I'm saying that along those lines, one of them was about fundraising, and I just put it on Facebook, so I'm not saying this is whatever, but Ray Lutz agreed with 2/3 of them. He agreed that the fundraising should continue going through our, you know, general thing and that. So I don't think that maybe he won't be that opposed. Like, what would we do after this to make sure that all the forms outside of how we're supposed to be, like, are terminated? Like, would we say, all right, we're going to take all of our going through the COPS website as long as you keep these donation pages up on there? Or, like, what would we do after that to bring everything back through finance, you know?
Is that a question?
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, I think that he would be okay with it, but what are we going to do with all the things outside to bring it back?
Well, and this is on the website at sandiegoccupy.org. From the first day that we put this site up was also, this was a big topic of the Finance Committee meeting. And it was consensus in there, and this was after conversation with Ray. He had concerns that the work product of the Finance Committee wasn't as transparent as it could be. And I agreed with that. We didn't have the collective knowledge and ability to do things until that day somebody came to us and said, hey, look, you can set this up, gave us this URL, and showed me the web page and walked me through it. Now I'm autonomous with that. I can enter all this stuff in and it gets reported out. We meet at 4 o'clock every day and that stuff is posted on or before 7 o'clock. So if you want to use it to come to GA with, it's going to always be there before GA meets at 7. Having satisfied that requirement, our request from him was that, again, in the section of his blast that says donations, it used to have one line to it. And it was the same language and the same link every day until Christmas Eve, until the 24th of December. On the 26th, it changed to 3 different links. On the 1st, it changed to 5 different links. So we made a motion and consent through the Finance Committee to request that Ray Lutz return the language in his email blast to the pre-December 24th language, and made that known to him, made that a formal request to do that. The next day, on the email blast that came out, all the donation sites were removed except for Citizens Oversight. And the language change to the link that was ours had not been done, because you couldn't say this is the exclusive site and then have another site underneath it. So he kept that language the way that it was and left Citizens Oversight on the blast. He deleted everything else.
Wait, so it still says this is the only site?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It doesn't say that. But it needs to. And the last one should be removed too.
Yeah, Citizens Oversight fundraising.
Okay, I would like to mention that Ray Lutz is not here.
Understand.
And while this is important, you know, this could be something for the accountability committee, or he can come to finance and work it out, depending on the result of this proposal.
Or GA tomorrow by design, right?
Right, exactly. So.
Well, and within Activist San Diego and within the Finance Committee, the reason it came to this proposal is that after going through that process and dealing with somebody who's so hands-on and so intertwined and you know, into Occupy as we are, someone like Ray Lutz, and we can't get to the end of completion of both sides doing what they agreed to do, we said, if we can't even get to satisfaction with Ray, we're sure as hell not going to get to satisfaction with all these other satellite autonomous things that are going on and using our resources to advertise and to connect and to drum up activity and then siphon it off. We're never going to get control of them if we can't even get Ray Lutz into the fold. So that's why, as a the alternative was to come in here and propose this.
Okay. Thanks. Next on Stag.
Two questions, because I have access to the bail fund, and I'd like to know how I transfer that over to ASD. And secondly, we take donations all the time for the bail fund, and what would we do in regards to that?
That was actually one of the things that I wanted to get on Stack about also, because we had Pat discussed a little bit about it yesterday. We have to basically bring a proposal to GA because of one of the previous raids. Now bail owes the general fund.
Louder, please.
Sorry. We have to bring a proposal to GA because one of the previous raids, bail owes the general fund $700. That's why they were created separate, is so that we could still raise funds for bail and not take away from the general fund. Now we're gonna have to bring a proposal to GA to basically have that $700 wiped clean off the slate to be able to merge bail back into the general fund with Activist San Diego. Otherwise, all the money we raise until we make $700 is just catching up on debt. So, but that's why they are separate. We want to merge together. Obviously, everything would be a lot easier if it could just come from one central location, but we still would be able to raise. We would just be taking it to finance at the end of the day and giving them a log of what we collected for that day.
We have a point of clarity?
Yes. As I understand it, Finance Committee consents that it was not going to take money for bail. I mean, that's why we have a bail committee. That's why they are separate. So I'm a bit confused as to what would happen to bail. I think the bail fund is not necessarily the target of these other people soliciting.
Specific information regarding what she's saying. The Finance Committee consents not to use general fund collection to pay bail. And what she's talking about, she's dead right on with what she explained there about the bail thing. At the very beginning of finance, it happened over the weekend of the one big raid, and you know the shit was flying, and everybody was looking for bail, and we paid bail for 3 different items to a total of $902. And then it became apparent to us that if we continue to do that, it's giving the cops a license to break us. Just go arrest some more people and bail them out, and you'll empty out the treasury. So we said we're not going to use general funds for that. We did, however, receive 2 donations that were earmarked for bail for a total of $200. We haven't gotten any since then, and probably because all the bail collections have stepped off to a different place. So we're in this situation where we've spent $902 on bail and we've collected $200 against it. So that's going to have to get reconciled, but that's a matter of process through finance to say we agreed to that since everything wasn't quite had our feet up under us yet when we did the original bailout, and now that we want to fold this in, that it's positive for the whole thing to restart the bail fund at 0, and we can pass that, but it's going to require then GA approval beyond that because it's more than $300. So we'll pass that and bring that here, and we can fold this in. It's procedural stuff that needs to happen.
Okay. Next on staff.
So I have Leslie. Was there anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay,
So there's no one left
there's
on
no one.
staff?
No, Christina.
Okay. So are you going to be able to be here tomorrow night in order to present your agenda item?
Yeah.
So you'll be here?
Is it 7 tomorrow?
Yes. So we will discuss, or we will vote we can reopen it for discussion tomorrow, obviously, and then it will be called to
Well,
consensus
you're putting
as
it
an
on the
agenda
agenda
item.
right now.
Absolutely. So tomorrow it will be on the agenda. Thank you. Was that clarity or information?
Yep.
Point of
I want to ask
clarification.
a question. Point of clarity. Oh yeah, point of clarity. Okay. So how do we prevent the police from wiping the money out if it's called the bail fund?
Because the bail fund's separate completely. It still would remain separate. It's just it would all be in one collected total. So if you wanted to donate money to bail, you would earmark it bail. They're going to keep track of how much has been donated to bail.
So the police can read the website and see how much money is sitting there in bail.
I'm not sure. I'm not
I
on
would.
finance,
Okay.
so.
I guess this is a point of clarity. The information is available on the internet. Yes, if the police wanted to go and look at it, that's fine. You know, we're having this discussion in a public arena, so if the police are listening, there's really no difference between it being on the internet, at the finance committee, here at GA. So it is all publicly available information. All right, so we are done with this. It will be on the agenda for tomorrow. Temperature check on do we want to crowdstorm this afternoon? So anyone that wants to crowdstorm? Okay. Anyone that doesn't want to crowdstorm? Okay, yeah, sorry, I asked that kind of wrong. Okay, so it looks like we're not going to crowdstorm. So do we have any personal announcements?
Oh,
wow.
I have one.
Okay. We're going to go kind of counterclockwise. Pat.
Completely unrelated to all the other things that I brought up today. One great idea that we had in finance, it's just in the conversation stage now, but it sounds like a doable thing. Runs are great fundraisers, and people that run, that do 10Ks, you know, half marathons, that kind of thing, in order to attract fresh money in here and not just be bringing out fellow occupiers with all the fundraising thing we do to bring stuff in here, would be to have a 10K kind of a run event on some kind of Saturday. We'd go measure it out around Balboa Park kind of thing. But we would have obviously a 9.9K, not a 10K.
Thank you. And I'm moving this way, so personal announcement.
I just want to second that motion.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so on the 11th, we're going to have an anarchist picnic in Children's Park from noon to 6 p.m. So when you get tired of protesting, you can come down and we will feed you because that is what anarchists do best. So, yes. I would love to see you all there.
Flyers if you either want to get some more information or possibly hand some out. See her following GA. Okay, moving this way. Amir.
I'd like to thank everybody who came out on San Diego State and Mike Check in opposition to the budget cuts and in support of the student Ashley Wardle that was being harassed by the administration and threatened with 2-year suspension. So thanks for coming out for the people who did. They dropped the charges. They have moved on to a UCLA student. Good thing they dropped the threats against her, the San Diego State has. Bad thing, there's another student that is being made example of and is a UCLA student. And his name, does anybody know? His name is Seth. And basically UCLA is going against him, so we're gonna get something going in support of that person, like get the number and call in and say back off, basically.
Point of clarity?
Is that the same, a similar?
It's exactly the same
kind
thing.
of deal to where this verdict would be precedent for that?
Yes. So basically, they need to make example of some student somewhere in California. So they're going against. They were going against Ashley, and now they're going against another guy in UCLA. So.
Okay. Thank you. So I saw. Okay. You and then Dave.
Oh, okay. I've been giving talks about Occupy and Women Occupy San Diego to senior citizens. And an interesting sentence came up, and that is, so what you're really interested in is economic fairness. And I thought that was such an interesting sentence. Instead of economic justice, economic fairness. So I'm just sort of like throwing it out. I'm looking for those general terms because the senior citizens who want you to speak slowly and loudly also want to have something that they can say coming out of their mouth. So if anyone has any of these fabulous sentences, please share them with me.
Dave?
The Veterans for Peace and the Peace Resource Center are showing a film, Hidden Battles, Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. The film starts. They'll have popcorn at 6:30, free admission. It's about young vets and the effects on their lives from when they return back to the U.S. We've spent a lot of time talking with the director of the film. We have copies of the film I can lend to people if they can't make it. But if you would like to attend and you need transportation, several of us are showing up here Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. to haul people to the Peace Resource Center. It's just off 94 and Home Avenue, exit at Church of the Brethren. So 6:30 here Tuesday night if you want to go see a film, followed by a panel discussion.
Thank you. Any more personal announcements?
I don't know if it's an announcement. What do I do to put something on the agenda as a proposal for tomorrow?
This is where.
When does that part come in? If I want to make proposals
Right
for
now.
tomorrow?
That's what this is
Now?
for.
Yep.
I have two. Number one, that like I was saying, that we consider having all autonomous actions by individuals and committees that use Occupy San Diego's name in regard, like if it's a press release, if it's a donation accruement type thing, or if it is a thing that involves coordinating with other Occupy movements, that goes through GA. I would like that to be on the
Point of process.
We have a
agenda
point of
tomorrow.
process.
That already is being done through facilitation committee and is
Okay.
already on the agenda for, I forget which day next week.
Okay, great.
I believe.
Your
I'll have to look at the notes.
Number two, that and I don't know, maybe this should go through media, but that we set up an Occupy watch list for everything that is not consented upon or that is not agreed upon, including donation sites, that we have a page where it says Occupy watch list. If this claims to be associated with Occupy, it is not. And we have the list to those links and those organizations or whatnot, to kind of make it, we can reference people there if they have any confusion.
Thank you. Any more personal announcements? Yes.
Was that, I don't know, is that okay for the agenda item tomorrow, or should I go through media?
We can hash it out at GA tomorrow. If people feel that it needs to go to media, then that, we can do it that way.
Just a little update on what's happening in Oakland. Supposedly it wasn't tear gas, it might be smoke bombs, but riot police are moving in, and there were some people throwing some firecrackers, so they might be firing beanbags at them. So it's getting a little tense up there, but no tear gas, so not yet. Yay.
Okay, last call for personal announcements. What's up?
He's at his
We're on-
hand.
what is this? They're putting on gas.
My hand's been like
Is
this.
the tire? We're going this way. What's up?
So this is just a reminder. We did pass the statement of political autonomy. Due to that, we do not, Occupy San Diego does not support politicians, political candidates, platforms, or parties as Occupy San Diego. So what that means is we don't have links to other people's pages on Occupy San Diego page, links to politicians, so on and so forth. So that's just a reminder. I've been reminding all week. I'm going to keep reminding that we don't do that.
Food committee's meeting tomorrow at 4. Food committee's meeting here tomorrow at 4. If you want to voice your opinion or be part of that committee, be here at 4.
Thank you. Okay, so yes.
I want to propose an agenda item for tomorrow.
John, speak up.
Louder, please.
I want to propose an agenda item for tomorrow. I don't think we've done a very efficient job of reaching out to students and addressing concerns of young people who tend to be a very important part of any social movement. And right now in California, obviously, with the tuition hikes, there's a very contentious atmosphere within the UCs. And as Amir was talking about, the students who have now been charged for protesting these hikes, I think we need to come out as a movement against the hikes in tuition.
just a point of, I don't know, information or whatever. So the OSD Labor Solidarity Committee consensed today that they were going to be reaching out to all the campuses that are participating in the March 1st event against the budget cuts. So, I mean, if you want to get involved or anybody else wants to get involved with student outreach, there it looks like that's happening like right now.
So I still think we should come to consensus on that.
Okay, did you get his agenda item, Melissa?
Yes, he did.
Okay, Josh.
Yeah, I just had a general question. I don't know if anybody else has had this problem, so I thought I'd ask it here really quickly. Is there
Louder.
anybody? Yeah, sorry, I don't know if anybody else has had this problem, and I thought I'd address it here really quickly. Is there anybody here that can help me figure out a way to get back on the Facebook page for Occupy, because I was banned from there, and I feel like I've been cut off from all the information that flows across there now, and you said you?
Yeah, no, I've been banned too.
Do we have any of the
yeah.
Facebook admins here?
Is there anyone here that's a Facebook admin? Are you a Facebook
No, I
admin?
know, I am. You're
Okay.
right. But
I
seems wrong, and it was done unilaterally by one person.
There's a proposal to get him back on, and I can add to that when I get done here. And request that you need him back on as well.
When is that proposal coming up?
Well, you know, it was someone wrote that. Like, please add him. Why is he being excluded? And I said, man loves him.
Well, you could maybe. See, I call the bail committee the political prisoner committee. Political prisoner support fund, whatever. I think you guys could totally draft a proposal to unban people from Facebook.
I just talked to them. Because it wasn't like a proposal to ban me, so I failed to see why there should be a proposal to reinstate me to an open community.
They just fired a lot of flashbangs at Oakland, tear gas, rubber bullets, flashbangs.
Yeah, we just saw it.
Okay.
Right now.
Is the 99.9K on the agenda for tomorrow?
No, because it was an idea. It can, you know.
If you want to create a working group to actually try and plan such a
Events
thing.
committee. Who's here from events?
We meet every day at 5:30.
So that would be the way.
Yes, that is exactly the way. And then you guys can hash it out in committee. It comes to GA. If you're seeking approval, you would get approval from GA and then move on from there. Okay, so we need a moderator for tomorrow. Do we have any nominations? Does anyone want to?
I nominate Rambo.
Okay, do we have any seconds to
second
Rambo?
that.
Okay, do we have any hard blocks to Rambo moderating tomorrow? Can you be here? Are you going to be here tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, cool. Great. Thank you.
Great.
Oh, yeah.